WFYI podcast brought to you by Bloomington, Indiana, an American college town offering food and drink, college sports, outdoor activities, live music, cool art, and good times daily. Everyone is welcome in Bloomington. More information at visitbloomington.com.
This is WFYI News Now. It's March 28th, and I'm Darian Benson. On today's show, a new process causes unprecedented delays for student financial aid, an effort to increase transparency around university hazing violations, a tool to help families search for childcare, and Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita says the state used faulty data to justify the COVID-19 stay-at-home order, but some experts say his claim lacks context.
Dixon says data can be messy, but Rokita's report doesn't paint a complete picture of the data or how it was used.
Those stories coming up, but first, after more than 2 years of preparation, a new cancer center opened in West Central Indiana. The Franciscan Health Cancer Center Lafayette is the largest comprehensive center in Tippecanoe County. It will provide screenings, diagnostics, and treatments for patients in one centralized location. Maria Vogt is director of the oncology service line at the center. She says the new space will make cancer services more accessible to patients.
It makes a big difference to be able to be treated in your area. You also are able to have closer connection with your family as they come with many patients to visit.
The center will also provide wraparound services, including financial aid, transportation, and case management assistance. Its leaders say they hope to partner with Purdue University to conduct clinical trials to find better ways to treat patients. And students and colleges are facing unprecedented delays with the free application for student aid, or FAFSA. Indiana Public Broadcasting's Kirsten Adair reports problems with the rollout of a new form has left students confused about how much student aid they're eligible to receive.
The FAFSA normally opens in October each year, but due to the slow rollout of the new form, students couldn't start to fill it out until January this year. The new form was supposed to simplify the process, but glitches have resulted in some students and their families not being able to complete it. Many who were able to fill out the form are unable to make adjustments after submitting it, and some received incorrect financial aid estimates. Bill Wozniak is the Vice President of Communications and Student Services at InvestEd. He encourages students and their families not to give up.
There's too much financial aid of all types on the line to skip it all together. Just a little bit more patience, and we'll help anybody get across that finish line, but it's too important to not do.
Many colleges and universities are pushing back decision deadlines and working with students. Wozniak says the FAFSA glitches will likely be resolved by next school year. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Kirsten Adair.
When Indiana University Greek organizations break hazing rules, the violations are detailed on the university's website. Now, all state universities will have to do the same because of a bill Governor Eric Holcomb signed this month. From WFYI's Education Desk, Rachel Fredette reports on how the measure seeks to promote transparency.
The law requires universities and colleges to create policies that ensure proven acts of hazing are made public. The schools will publish information like when hazing event occurred and investigative findings. Republican Representative Jake Teshka proposed the rule.
And so this will help students as they're doing their research into whether or not they want to join a certain sorority or fraternity, and really just brings another level of transparency to hazing incidents on campus.
Teshka says the rule comes from a national organization that oversees Greek life. The law goes into effect next school year. I'm Rachel Fredette.
The latest data from Early Learning Indiana shows that the state only has the capacity to serve about 60% of the children who need care. That makes finding care a challenge for families. From WFYI's Education Desk, Sydney Dauphiné has more on a tool to help families searching for care.
Indiana Family and Social Services Administration has an online tool to help families search for childcare. Courtney Penn is with FSSA. She says she knows how overwhelming it can be to start searching for childcare.
We want to be supportive as possible as families are going through this process, and this office is poised and ready to be supportive.
Penn says parents can contact FSSA if they have questions. Before using the state search tool, it's helpful for families to know what days and times they need care and what kind of provider they want. I'm Sydney Dauphiné.
And for our final story today, Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita presented a report at a political rally that he says proves the state used faulty data to justify the stay-at-home order at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. But as Indiana Public Broadcasting's Abigail Ruman reports, experts warn that Rokita's claims lack context.
The report focuses on what Rokita claims are inaccurate COVID death counts and positivity rates, and how they were used to inform public policy decisions. The Regenstrief Institute worked with public health and healthcare agencies to gather and communicate data in the early days of the pandemic. Brian Dixon is the director of public health informatics at Regenstrief. He says there were in-depth discussions around those public policy decisions and what data should be considered.
We're looking at patterns of data and whether rates are increasing or decreasing when we're trying to make decisions. And those decisions are being made looking at multiple indicators, not just a single thing.
Dixon says data can be messy, but Rokita's report doesn't paint a complete picture of the data or how it was used. For Indiana Public Broadcasting, I'm Abigail Ruman.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by the following people who live in your community: Aubriana Heron, Drew Dodlin, Kendall Antron, who composed the music for this podcast, and me, Darian Benson. Our news director is Sarah Neal Estes. If you liked today's episode, remember to subscribe and share. And follow WFYI on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.